Assalamu alaikum, myself Muhammad Anil Ahmed. I'm here for the introduction of pharmaceutical analysis and more specifically pharmaceutical analysis of stimulants, a class of pharmaceutical drugs. In this section, why we need to do a pharmaceutical analysis? The main purpose is to identify, purify and quantify and the separation. Basically, we are dealing these four are pillars of pharmaceutical analysis, in which we take a particular drug and we want to identify the components and we want to know the purity of our drug. We want to understand the composition, a quantitative analysis, you can say. We want to check that in how many percentage by weight a particular component is present in our drugs or something like this, and if the separation is required, and that also a part of pharmaceutical analysis. Pharmaceutical analysis involves two type of analysis. First one is instrumental analysis and the second one is wet analysis, which is a part of wet chemistry. Instrumental analysis, basically what is this? Instrumental analysis, a use of various instruments for the analysis. Basically it involves a chromatography, spectroscopy, thermal analysis and elemental analysis. In chromatography, two techniques are majorly used: high pressure liquid chromatography and gas chromatography. These techniques are used in pharmaceutical analysis for the identification, for the separation, to determine the purity of our drug, to check the potency and understand the impurity profile of our drugs. Chromatography, we all are well aware of these techniques, in which we have one mobile phase and a stationary phase, and separation is based on the interaction between either phase. Spectroscopy is basically a technique in which we use the interaction of electromagnetic radiation with our sample or analyte. For pharmaceutical analysis, we used UV visible spectroscopy, IR, NMR and mass spectrometer. These are used for the identification of our target substance, or more specifically about this, to get the structural information of our drugs. Thermal analysis like differential scanning calorimeter and TGA, these are used to understand the thermal behavior of our drug. We are talking about the transitions, phase shifts and the melting points, and to understand the optimum environment for our drugs to work best. Elemental analysis is simply atomic absorption spectroscopy and ICP-MS for the elemental analysis, or understand the trace elements or heavy metals in our drug sample. Wet analysis involves the use of any kind of chemical or reagents for the analysis. Many types of wet analysis like color test, microcrystalline test, in which we use a particular reagent and the colors change in our test tube, in which we are containing our reagent plus sample that identifies the particular substances. Few examples are listed above. Next, okay, we are taking here the example of a pharmaceutical class, stimulants. So basically, let's start with the introduction of stimulants. Stimulants, basically these are the drugs used to increase the alertness, attention and energy level. They do so by enhancing our central nervous system, that increase our physiological functions. Stimulants are a type of drugs used for various medical conditions like ADHD, attention deficient hyperactivity disorder. In this, a patient suffering from ADHD basically cannot focus on a particular target. He is mentally in a state in which he is doing task A, but with 20% attention, and now he start doing task B with the same low level of attention, and then he started task C. So multitasking he is doing at the moment, but the attention or dedication to any particular task is close to zero or almost none. So this disorder is sought out by giving a stimulant like amphetamines. Below there listed a few examples of stimulant like cocaine, a synthetic stimulant, amphetamine, methamphetamines. Now, analysis of stimulants like cocaine is done by using a Scott test, in which we have used a reagent cobalt thiocyanate. We add this reagent into a small amount of sample, and change in color will identify the cocaine. In this case, a blue color appearance will identify the cocaine. And for the identification of amphetamines, we perform a Marcus test, in which the Marcus reagent is used. Marcus reagent is basically nothing but a formaldehyde plus sulfuric acid. This reagent is added to a small amount of sample, and appearance of orange to brown color will confirm the presence of amphetamines. Pharmaceutical analysis, the wet analysis basically is used to identify our target compound. Here in this case we are focused to identify the cocaine, so we used a particular type of test, particular reagent for the identification of our target analyte. Thank you.